So we spoke previously about this tweet, for example.
We have
Oliver Darcy at CNN.
And the thing to remember is that this is the opposite of a free market. So this is where there is not just market competition that decides the rise and fall and the fortunes of various companies. These are companies acting in predatory ways in the cabal that they admit to being a part of in order to hurt their competition. I'm pretty sure there are loads of laws about all of this already that are on the books to prevent this kind of behavior. I don't know why there aren't lawsuits flying around everywhere.
I assume because they've not been successful yet, but they are about to be by the looks of it.
But even the attempt, I think, is something called tortious interference, which means that you can be sued for the attempt at interfering with someone else's contracts, which is, I mean, that is exactly what he's doing here. There's exactly, just a reminder that neither Verizon, AT&T, or Comcast have answered any questions about why they beam channels like OANN and Newsmax into millions of homes. What questions could you possibly... Why do you do this? Because they pay us money, and we're a cable service provider.
And the obvious point being here, like, this guy works for CNN, and he wants to deplatform Fox News and OANN and Newsmax.
Oliver Darcy being the chap who got Alex Jones mass deplatformed.
Because they are competition to CNN. That is the reason. I mean, I'm sure Burger King would love to burn down every McDonald's in sight, but that's not... you don't get to do that.
No,
you can't deplatform McDonald's on that basis that you don't like them.
You don't get to deplatform anyone. Especially not your direct competition. I mean, what are you going to do? Claim you don't have a financial stake in taking down OAN and News? Get out.
Yeah. So we've spoken about this before, and it was a CNN thing that they were trying to do. So there's another CNN tech reporter who's seconding this motion, basically saying that, yes, we ought to go after them. And I wanted to play this clip, which is from CNN, trying to claim that, no, even though all of our reporters are saying we're coming after you, we're not coming after Fox News, we swear. So
I love the current here. Reducing information pollution. Yeah. Oh, my God.
So let's play.
Dishonest cries of censorship are filling Fox's airwaves, with charges that these guys right here are being suppressed. The word censorship's been invoked almost 400 times on Fox this month alone, and more than 300 times on Newsmax. Post-insurrection, a book publisher decided that it did not want to be in business with Senator Josh Hawley, so he's been on a national TV tour claiming he's muzzled. And Tucker Carlson is telling viewers that this network, CNN, is trying to force Fox News off the air.
Yes.
Which is patently false.
You liar.
Lies to your faces.
Yeah, like your own reporters are calling up AT&T to deplatform Fox.
But I just can't get over the balls on the man. Like, I wouldn't be able to just sit there and go, yeah, okay, so, we want you off the air, this is all bad, you're terrible people, but don't say that we're trying to censor you. That's a lie.
It's like the Owen Jones episode yesterday.
Yeah.
It's the parallels between the left and the US and the left and the UK are striking.
I can't get over it. It's genuinely depressing.
Yeah, the last check mark I wanted to talk about here, so there were a lot of check marks to pick through that Carl gave me. This one's just the best one.
There were, and this is not like something that the Twitter chattering classes are like, oh no, you can't just go after your competition. They're like, no, get them!
Yeah, kill them, because they're right.
Bring the heads, it's awful.
So Mehdi Hasan here saying, to be clear, Fox News, OANN, the far-right echo chamber incited a lot of what we are seeing today. So
Prove it.
In response to what happened to Capitol Hill. So him calling for them to be shut down as well, which is amazing, because for people who don't know who Mehdi Hasan is, I just want to play a video of what he is most well known for, which is believing in Pegasus.
Do you believe that Muhammad flew to heaven on a winged horse, for example? I pay you the compliment of assuming that you don't.
No, I do. I believe in miracles.
You believe that?
Yes.
You believe that Muhammad went to heaven on a winged horse?
Yes, I believe in God. I believe in miracles. I believe in revelation. I mean, the point here is that let's assume I'm wrong, Richard. I'm wrong.
Let's
assume I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I'm happy to concede that, Richard. I'm happy to concede it. I'm wrong.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Let's just put up the image, because I want to show what he is actually claiming to believe in case it wasn't absurd enough. This is it. This is what he's claiming in reality happens.
Yes.
This man is very serious. But I love how he has his own show. Like, he gets his own show. He's not touched. But he's obviously a maniac. But Fox News, they've got to go for spreading misinformation. I mean, to say nothing of CNN's coverage of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, well, say nothing of CNN's coverage of the Russiagate conspiracy theory and various other things that CNN have just lied about over the years.
But anyway, getting to the Democrats, so the new development here, which is that the reason we're laying all this out is that the Democrats wrote a letter to AT&T. So the people on the, I think it's like the Commission for Commerce or whatever, complaining that Fox News exists and therefore AT&T ought to deplatform them on this basis because they're not Democrats. And it's quite shocking that they would do this, to be honest.
Yeah.
So they say they are concerned about the role AT&T plays in disseminating misinformation to millions. Nearly half of Americans get their news primarily from TV. However, not all TV sources are the same. Some purported news outlets have long been misinformation rumor mills and conspiracy theory hotbeds that produce content that leads to real-world harm.
Oh, Rachel Maddow is just sweating here. Oh, God.
Well, of course, they're not talking about anything left-wing. They have to talk about all the right-wing.
Yeah.
So they literally say right-wing media outlets like Newsmax, One American News Networks, and Fox News all aired misinformation about the November 2020 elections. And I love that the source they use for that claim, so they have like little sources there, is Vox.com. It's like Vox.com. The people who... Remember that hate crime thing we covered? They're like, maybe a hate crime, whilst they were shouting F white people after torturing this white kid. Like, okay, sure, they're the ones spreading misinformation.
And just to be clear, I don't think any media outlet has any room at this point to say we have never spread misinformation.
It's an absurd thing to claim.
Yeah.
I'm infallible, is what you're saying by that.
Yeah. And not just that, our opponents are nothing but fallible. You know?
So they also go on to say, as a violent mob was breaching the doors of the Capitol, Newsmax's coverage called the scene sort of a romantic idea. I was like, okay.
And what did you call the Chaz?
What did CNN refer to the Chaz as?
A summer of love.
I mean, they had that politician on from Seattle who called it a summer of love.
Yeah.
And then went on, it went on, lots of people's stores got destroyed.
Yeah.
And I think it was
six people died.
At least 6 people died. It's crazy.
Yeah, and when we say died, it wasn't like 6 people had heart conditions.
They didn't fall out of the building.
Yeah, but at the Capitol Hill riots, there were like 4 of the deaths or something, 3 of the deaths were from natural causes. They weren't because of the rioting.
Medical emergencies.
Yeah, medical emergencies. No, people were being killed in the Chaz.
Being shot to death by the security forces.
Yes.
Yeah. So they continue, AT&T currently carries Fox News, Newsmax, and OANN. As a company that serves 17 million Americans, AT&T plays a major role in spreading the dangerous misinformation.
There's no end to it. AT&T are not responsible for what the people who broadcast on their services are saying, and they know it. They know this. Like if you were slandered by Fox News or libeled by Fox News, you wouldn't sue AT&T.
No, wouldn't make any sense.
No, and no judge would accept it. They would say no, you've got to sue Fox News.
So this is from 2 representatives, and then they ask a list of questions here, which allude to the fact that they are definitely pressuring AT&T. If you weren't getting that message already. So one of these: do you require, through contracts or otherwise, that channels that you carry abide to content guidelines? If so, please provide a copy of the guidelines.
Why would they? As long as it's legal, why would they have any guidelines?
Like, why do I care?
But I think the first one's the most interesting question. What moral or ethical principles, including those related to journalistic integrity, violence, medical information, and public health, do you apply in deciding which channels to carry or when to when to take adverse actions against a channel? Man, I would hit them with something really brutal. We'd be like, well, look, we'd love to have standards relating to journalistic integrity, but unfortunately, we are, of course, not the arbiters of truth. And that means we would probably have to deplatform every news channel that we carry, including yours. So shut up. And what moral or ethical principles do we apply in deciding which channels to carry? Well, we're actually interested in a civic society. We are interested in people having a civic life. And that means hearing from people that you might not agree with and treating them as citizens, fellow citizens, equals, if you will.
I mean, shock horror. Imagine that kind of speech.
Yeah, imagine, right? But they would be the moral and ethical principles that AT&T could come back and just be like, no, shut up, you're doing a bad thing.
I mean, this also alludes to, as we've known with Silicon Valley, that they want to turn every company in America into an ethical company.
Yes.
Which essentially just means a vehicle for leftism.
Yeah.
I mean, you think
and there will be a leftist sort of priestly class.
Yeah, I mean, what principles do you apply? Can you give us the content guidelines? You know, the well-known TOS of social media that is non-partisan, we swear. They also ask a very alarming question. How many of your subscribers tuned into Fox News, Newsmax, and OANN before the election and January 6th? Before the election? Like, they want to know how many people are not buying the propaganda here, I guess.
How badly are we getting dunked on by the right?
They also say, what steps did you take prior to, or on, and following the November 3rd, 2020 elections and January 6th, 2021, to monitor, respond to, and reduce the spread of disinformation?
None. We're not the arbiters of truth.
I'm not a publisher. Like, I'm just here to give you, here's a news channel. Okay, go ahead. Just don't break the FCC guidelines.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. So they also say, have you taken any adverse actions against the channel, including Fox News, Newsmax, OANN, for your platform when they disseminate disinformation? Again,
we're not responsible for the quality of the information that's being disseminated. Why are you asking this goddamn question?
Because they're pressuring them here to say that you need to take down these if they do not agree with our political views, because that's disinformation.
And not only that, they want to write articles going, AT&T and Verizon or whoever have said that they're not going to reduce disinformation that's being spread on their services. Can you believe this? This is an outrage. And then AOC will tweet out about it, and a bunch of angry Twitter activists will start cancelling things.
And then
that's what they're trying to do here.
Are you planning to continue carrying Fox News, Newsmax, and OANN, both now and beyond? Any contract renewal date? If so, why?
Because they pay us.
It's that simple.
Go away.
We're a company. Yeah. Sod off. Disgusting people. I just checked out the 2 names of the representatives who signed this, and they would have got this approved by the Democratic Party. You don't just act without approval to do such a thing. And, just looking up both their Twitter accounts, because leftists are so stupid, they post everything on Twitter.
Yep.
And the first one is just the first representative endorsing Black Lives Matter. So, this kind of person. Next one is the next representative, and he's complaining about black equal pay, which...
It takes black women an average of 8 months to earn what white males take home in just 1 year. It's time for black women's equal pay now. Look, Jerry, right? Maybe you as a white man should stop shaming black women for not working as hard as you, a white man. Maybe you should just stop.
Because this isn't about equal pay, it's about equal earnings.
Yeah.
And that as a collective group, collective racial group doesn't earn as much as this collective racial group.
Have you considered that possibly black women have different interests than you?
Anyway, something for sure on head. The FCC, well, one of the FCC commissioners, there's 5 of them, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, 1 vacant, has issued a statement in response to this. And rightfully, because this is the grounds of the FCC. They're the ones who regulate what gets put on cable TV, not government
officials. CNN, or government officials.
Government officials. You should not have any role in this, because then it just leads to censorship.
Yeah.
So they said that they sent this letter asking AT&T. They sent it to also 12 providers, so 11 others, presumably. And he's quoted in here, and I love his response. It's great. Democrats are sending a message that is clear as it is troubling. These regulated entities will pay a price if the targeted newsrooms do not conform to the Democrats' preferred political narratives. That's it.
Based.
That's what they're doing.
This is a chilling transgression of the free speech rights that every media outlet in this country enjoys. Sorry, when the regulatory body, the body that is specifically designed for censorship, is saying, look, you're going too far and infringing on people's free speech rights, is there at some point a time where the Democrats, CNN, and all of the leftist activists are going to sit down and go, okay, is the problem us?
Yeah, I mean, when the censorship lobby is saying you're going too far, I mean, I don't know. I mean, should you look in the mirror at that point and start thinking, what am I doing?
I mean, I would have done, but I guess it's only a matter of time until we find out that the FCC is staffed entirely by white people and they hate black people. And therefore, they need to be cancelled too.
Well, there's 2 Democrats on there, so...
Well, there we go.
Anyway, he continues, more speech is better than less, yet the concerted effort by the Democrats to drive political dissidents off the public square represented a marked departure from the First Amendment norms. Totally true.
Based, yeah.
They're just trying to get rid of political dissidents. They are explicitly saying it by saying it's only right-wing disinformation that they care about.
Yeah.
You notice no complaints about the Russiagate conspiracy theory.
Well, yeah, MSNBC should be off the air by these standards.
If that's the standard, yeah.
Yeah.
A newsroom's decision about what stories to cover and how to frame them should be beyond the reach of any government official.
Good.
Totally
yes, true. That's the most important part. That's really impressive, actually. They've actually included this. Because that's exactly it. It's, again... I mean, I don't want to just call them fascists, but it's really looking like fascism when the government is trying to pressure and force private companies in conjunction with essentially state-controlled media to deplatform various opposition groups.
Yeah, I mean, the equivalent would be McDonald's working with the Republicans to get Burger King declared a terrorist organization or something.
Yeah.
So that all of them have to go.
Or they're what are you doing to prevent people from being poisoned or something?
By Burger King.
By Burger King, yeah, exactly.
Obvious partisan attack. He continues, your demand to know the moral principles, in quotes, that guide a private entity's decision about what news to carry cannot be reconciled with the bedrock principles of free speech and journalistic freedom.
Excellent.
I call on the FCC colleagues to join me in publicly denouncing this attempt to stifle political speech and journalistic news judgment.
Brilliant.
32.
Bravo.
Good guy.
Very good.
Everyone should stand with him.
I can't believe I have to applaud the FCC.
Yeah, I mean, the censorship lobby. We're on the side of them here, where they're like, no, free speech, guys.
Yeah, normally they're the people I'm like, you shouldn't have censored that, but okay, fine.
It's like the liberty wing of the GOP is just like, get rid of the FCC, abolish it. We don't need it sometimes. And I've always found myself in agreement, and now I'm looking at them like, might need them. They might be the last bastion.
Yeah, the final line of
tyranny.
The final line of defense against the communists.